In this lecture, you are going to learn how to create a controller. With Legato Framework, it is very easy to create a controller. In the last lecture, we did learn how to create a route, and then we created some route using the route resource method. But right now, if we go back again to the documentation, when we use the route resource method, these routes are created for us with the corresponding methods that are here. And then we need to actually create a controller that has all of those methods. All right, so that's what we are going to do now. We're going to create a controller for the route resource that we created, which is the RESTful route. And then we are going to just define all of the methods here so that we have a basic idea of how to use a controller. So the first thing we want to do is come to the documentation for the controller. Then we can see how to create a controller. So the first thing is that we want to create a controller using the command line tool, or we want to create it manually. So we prefer to use the command line tool. I'm going to open my command line tool and then just clear things up. And then again, I'm going to list out all of the available commands. So to create a controller, we have the command here, which is called add controller. So we can then say PHP legato add, and then specify what we want to add. That is a controller. And then we want to say the name of the controller. So we're going to say link controller. So this creates a new controller class for us inside of the controllers folder. So let's go back again to our text editor. And here you can see now that we now have a new controller class here, which extends the base controller. So what we now want to do is just quickly define all of those methods. So the first one is the index method. Then you can actually just grab that from the documentation. So we don't have to define all of them again. I do think soon that there's going to be an option to just generate all of this for us automatically so that we can specify an option when creating a controller, like we want to use a resource, as you can do using Laravel. So that's something that will be added to the framework soon. So let's come back again to our controller, then just replace all of this. So we now have all of the methods that we need to support the RESTful route that we have created. So that's how easy it is to create a controller using the built-in Legato add controller command. If you do want to create a controller manually, you can just right click and then create a new file inside of the controllers folder, and then make it to extend the base controller, then specify your namespace, after which you may need to run composer dump autoload so that the new controller will be immediately usable. So we're just going to quickly update this and then continue from here in the next lecture. So display a form to create a link resource. This is to save the resource, which is going to be a link, display a specific resource. Then this is going to show the form to edit a resource, update the specified resource, delete the specified resource. And then lastly, we are just coming back to routes.php and then just confirm that the name actually matches what we specified. So this is link controller, this is link controller. That will be all for this lesson. I'll see you in the next lecture.